when I saw the photo on the piece, I thought it reminded me of a scene out of The Sopranos and Tony Soprano's club. We can quibble over whether burlesque and adult entertainment and strip club are all the same thing, but it was pretty difficult, I think, Charlie, for the government to say, okay, the association is the issue here, the perception is the issue here, and by all accounts, from what I've seen in terms of where the ministers handled the questioning, he's pretty good at ragging the puck, but not very good at addressing the issue.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say, Dave, that photo, it's funny that you bring that up. That was actually online. The club itself has posted a lot of photos online. When you walk in, your phone is taped up. So I did not take any photos while I was there. I just went and talked to folks, took in the scene, which did not take too long to show itself to be what I understand a strip club is typically like. So yeah, and in terms of how it's been, perceived, that's really been something that it's been part of the debate here. Like today, the premier was made to withdraw a comment because of how the opposition leader, Marit Stiles, had characterized the club and the use of funding, and the premier called her a liar, which you can't do in the House, and so he had to withdraw. It's certainly been torqued up on the opposition side at times, but I think from watching the government benches, they're very uncomfortable with this topic. Even with the facts of the matter as Jess laid them out, in which I should say include the fact that those involved in the training program and the owner of these multiple clubs, they, as well as the government, have said that none of the training funding has been used for workers at the new establishment. That said, the new establishment is very much intertwined with their other businesses. They use the same payroll. We're talking about one single physical location here, which even when it's not operating as a, as it puts it, a burlesque themed club, for during the daytime or other times, it can be rented out for other events. It's still physically that same space, and there's overlap between workers, but basically there's sort of no good way for the government to address this issue because of the nature of it.
So just so I understand, then, it is the nonprofit arm of this, and that's where they're talking about doing the training. Is Starkovsky how is he involved with the nonprofit part of this, Jess?
I can jump in on that. So the nonprofit, this is run by someone who has worked with Starkovsky for a long time. She has told us she runs the training at this building, the horticulture building, and that works with Starkovsky's companies, Grand Bazaar and Toronto Event Center. And that's also shown in some government documents that we obtained. So it's very much embedded with his companies, but she is the one who is the director. It is the one that has received the money. Now, Zlatko Starkovsky is the beneficial owner of those companies, but for corporate records, and of the nightclub as well. And like Charlie's described, they use the same payroll system. If you buy something at the club, your credit card is charged by one of these companies that is involved in the government-funded trading program as its official employer partner. So there are some nuances there, right? When the opposition stands up and yells, "Did you really give $10 million to a strip club?" That's not technically true. They didn't give $10 million to a strip club. $10 million flowed before the strip club was open to a guy who has since opened a strip club in the same place, the same owner, crossover, etc. And it has money flowing this year with a new agreement under the SDF. But they have said they have not used that to directly train employees for the SDF, and they have not trained strippers, and they have not trained the people who hang from the ceiling from hoops in their hair, things they hold in their teeth. But there's this thing here. It all came about because we've been doing a ton of reporting on the Skills Development Fund. we found it hasn't been very transparent about how this money has been spent, by whom, to what ends. Has it actually trained people for what the government has said? You know, if you listen to what they like to say about the Skills Development Fund, it's largely about the skilled trades and how they're the government standing up for the skilled trades. We just felt this story showed that there's more to it than that. No, nothing against the, being a stripper or a burlesque dancer, but it's not what the government has been sort of portraying this whole thing as.